And welcome to the show, ladies and gentlemen. We're so glad to have you this Friday afternoon. This is the best show of the week that I put on. You know why? Two reasons. Number one, Tamara's here with us. And also, this is my sixth show, the last one of the week.
There's always a lot to be said about that, right?
Oh, yeah. Because, I mean, when you manage up to 9 guests a week, being working the pre-broadcast, broadcast, all that stuff, sometimes you can get a little, confused.
Oh, yeah.
I certainly did that with our guest. I mean, she was such a sweetheart about it. But Dr. Sofie Nubani, I knew of her a little bit, Tamara. But when she sent her info, I just knew of her a little bit and didn't know her very well at all. When she sent in her resume and her bio, I'm sitting there and I'm thinking, oh my gosh. I'm thinking maybe I should have wore a suit and tie and maybe a blazer today and try to make myself look more presentable. More presentable. But I tell you what, she's a heavy hitter. I mean, that little lady, man, she can smack it out of any park. I'm talking about even Yellowstone.
Love it. I love it. Yeah, I'm very excited to talk to her about the whole concept between left brain, right brain thinking and some of the things that she's going to discuss with us. I'm super excited to hear all about it. Yeah. Because I know a lot of us have gotten invested in some of these restrictive belief systems that we've been taught over time, and how much of it's really fact-based and how much of it's just things you've heard so many times that become embedded belief systems. So I have a lot to say about that myself. So I love that.
The one thing that comes paramount to my mind, I never will forget. I was there, and I walked in the den there when my mother and dad were watching TV, and Walter Cronkite, CBS Evening News with that gravelly voice.
Oh yeah.
He actually said, it was one of the times, we've heard it many times, where science has proven that we only use 10% of our brains.
Oh, how funny.
Yeah, you've heard that, haven't you?
Oh, yeah. Mm-hmm.
And my parents were kind of shocked, and they kind of like looked at each other like, wow, 10%. And then they looked at me, and they got kind of aggravated, and I thought, what did I do? Then it dawned on me.
I knew you were going there.
They probably thought in school I wasn't using that much.
I knew you were going there.
I know it. Warped sense of humor.
It's so funny. You do some funny things, but I do think that a lot of the times we do have more that we use than we are taught, or more than we are shared. There's a certain level of intelligence that's different than the actual. So I'm excited to dig into this deeper with her and go into more of a conversation about this.
So you think we use more than, I'll go along with you on that. That sounds good to me.
I don't know, but I want to know how they do the research to figure out how much we use of our brain. I think that's very interesting. So.
Absolutely. We got Helen Wilson saying hello to you and also to me. So hello. Wilson. Well, let's see here. Let me invite this young lady to the stage here.
Super excited.
Hey, how are you today, Dr. Sofie Nubani?
Hello. I'm doing great. Out of Orlando, Florida. Magical world.
Did you bring us any warm weather?
Yes, it is actually beautiful and warm here. So we send you some love and sunshine and positive vibes.
There you go. And a couple of blankets would come in handy too. I was just telling everyone before the show that Monday's going to get down here to 5 degrees.
Oh, wow.
As our low. I'm talking as in singular numbers 5, and I mean, geez.
Yeah.
That's just too. There's only one place to be. That's in front of the fireplace, drinking coffee.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, because it's
something warm. Definitely.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
I forgot about those temperatures. I haven't been in that kind of climate in a long time.
Well, you hadn't missed much, I can tell you that. But here, sometimes we don't even get close to freezing during the winter, the whole winter.
Oh,
I mean, so for us to dip down this low, my goodness gracious, it's unusual. And we've been down to like 17 or 18 degrees for maybe one day, but we're going to be under freezing, colder than freezing point, about 3, maybe 4 days. It's not going to start getting warmer again until a week from the day.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, so it's
At least you're going to be prepared mentally.
Yeah, I'll tell you.
Think warm thoughts.
Yeah. I may have to think some blazing hot thoughts.
So funny.
It's time to reprogram the mind. Perfect tweak for that.
Oh yeah,
Absolutely.
you know, in your information that you sent, you're gonna be talking to us about, you know, clearing up some myths about the brain, and Tamara was talking about that earlier. And Tamara said she was very much interested in hearing what you had to say, and I am too. Trust me. So, but would you be
Good.
kind enough just to introduce yourself and tell the folks a little bit about yourself?
Sure. I'm Dr. Sofie Nubani. I am a creative mindset strategist, NLP trainer, and executive coach, and author of Optimize Your Creative Mindset book series, as well the founder of the Circle of Creative Masters Institute. And I have such a passion for creativity, curiosity, psychology, mindset, energy, you name it. all the things that come with that exploring aspect and self-transcendence.
Wow. When do you find time to rest or sleep, or, you know, with all
During
those
meditation.
during meditation? Oh, okay. That
It's
makes
part
sense.
of it. It's part of the things I'm interested in.
Oh yeah.
Absolutely.
Uh-huh.
And Tamara,
Yes.
you were talking a little bit about the left brain, the right brain, and myths and all that, and
Yeah. Kind of saw that you talk a lot about that. I was very curious what you've debunked about that theory.
Yeah, actually, as I was writing my book, I went into a much deeper research. And because, you know, there is scientific creativity, there is artistic creativity, and a lot of people are always associating, you know, he's a right brain thinker because he's an artist or a singer or, you know, or something of that nature. But when the studies were revealed, it was totally different than what we have been all taught for so many years. And our perception to a creative person in association with our brain. Now, our brains do have two parts. So we do have the left and the right. And some might be more dominant than others for some people. But during the actual creative process, Ned Herman, which was the educator for General Electric, he did his Ned Herman group in 1980 and did a study on the brain. And when they did the scans through the study, both parts had to light up during the creative process. And you can't even complete the full creative process without actually engaging in both hemispheres. It's a full limbic system that you are using and utilizing. And in fact, studies has shown that only quarter of the right brain is responsible for the creative process. So there are many different areas of our brain that are used during the creative process. For example, to get more specific on that, the creative process itself engages both hemispheres. And that was with the Graham Wallace model of the creative process. And he had four, which was preparation, illumination, incubation, and verification. But Ned Herman came in and he added to the foundation of Graham Wallace's creative process, and he added interest and verification. And through the studies, what they showed is, for example, the interest would be a left and a right brain function. You're interested in something. You have a desire to explore, to discover. I'm sorry, my cat just jumped up.
That's okay.
Say hi, Tina.
Hi. Oh, how sweet. What a fluffy little thing.
Yes, yeah. He's an angelic spirit, let me tell you. He's very intellectual.
I love it.
He wants to know what is this thing with the brains?
Oh, yeah.
Am I using all of it or half of it?
Oh, so cute.
Yeah. So the interest was both brain function, left and right. And then you have the preparation part was what associated with the left side brain, where you have to analyze and prepare and choose, you know, while you're preparing what you want in the preparation process. And then the illumination was a right brain function. And then the verification after the illumination was a left brain function. Then he added application. So you want to, after verifying, obviously apply it. And that was both right and left. So it's made 4 lefts and 4 rights, a very good balance of a full brain. And so this is truly how the creative process works, is with utilizing both hemispheres and both sides of our brain. And understanding that and knowing where it's applied gives us a better understanding in going through the process itself. So we're not as too hard on ourselves. Or it's like, okay, illumination part is like, you know, being in a state of flow, and it can just the idea comes and it's just there. But this thing could take, you know, it can take a week, a day, a moment, months, years.
Right. So when somebody's interested in learning, or maybe what would they be let me start this all over again. What would they be struggling with in order to connect with you? What would they be seeking to understand how their brain's working? Or is it that they're feeling uncreative and they're looking to be more creative? What would you say your ideal customer?
I'm more like a creative mindset strategist. And more or less, there is so much to creativity. And it's such a deep topic. I mean, my book is at 427 pages, and that's only book 1. Once we are able to relate to the creative tools, techniques, concepts, we are able to connect better dots. Because now our association cortex in the brain have more to pick from different experiences, modalities, exercises, creative techniques. I'm also an NLP practitioner, so I utilize a lot of use of NLP as well as system thinking into applying towards whatever it is that they're trying to accomplish or maybe struggling with or trying to break through. When they tap into that, they feel more clear in their direction towards what it is they're trying to get to.
And as you were talking there, the thing that kind of came to my mind is that I know that everything is in perfect balance or perfect harmony in the universe. And so therefore, if we're only using one side of our brain, I mean, we're going to be out of balance, you know, mentally, because both parts would contribute to the whatever the mission is, or what you're thinking, or what you're trying to create, or whatever. And that kind of makes sense, because otherwise you'd be totally out of balance with the universe and everything.
Isn't that amazing? The laws of nature and creation can always bring us back to wisdom and grounding our senses to logic and reason, plus our, you know, own intuition applied to it. So that makes a lot of sense.
Yeah. Well, the thing too is that when you hear truth like that, it just, something about the universe just opens up the minds, especially my mind, the canyons of my mind, and says, you know, and I realize, wow, that's the way that works. I mean, it just, you know, that's the beauty about truth, you know?
Absolutely. Yeah. What inspired you to go down this path? Was there something that happened earlier in your life that made you curious about how you perceive and how you get into these, you know, patterns, how we become creative? What inspired you?
You see, you just used the magical word, curious. I was so curious as a child. I often got in trouble. I was a little too curious. So I would say, and it's true, curiosity is a foundation. And it's really what opens up to creativity. And there is different types of curiosity. There's cognitive curiosity, and there's sensational curiosity. And sensational curiosity would be like, you know, trying to be, you know, skydiving or jumping off a cliff. The feeling of something that you're
adrenaline.
Curious. Yes. The feeling of what you want to really get to, this excitement of like that, if you're on a roller coaster, just going all the way down and then back up, you know, and maybe when you were kids, and if you had to go down a hill fast in a car with one of your crazy uncles, I had one, and he would go, "You ready, kids?" And we're like, "Yes," and then go, and I couldn't wait for that sensation, because I knew that my heart is going to feel a certain way going in that. So that sensational curiosity, though it's all healthy, because it connects you to your emotions, your feelings, that your livelihood, your life force, your vitality, your sense of being. Yet intellectual curiosity is truly your cognitive area of curiosity, of the self-growth and self-transcendence, which is what Abraham Maslow did. If you look at his study for the self-actualization, before he passed away, what he was working on was the last of the pyramid, which was self-transcendence. And that is really peak experiences and getting a growth mindset to be optimized. And as we are in that space of self-growth, intellectual curiosity pays a big dividend in our own real knowing, not the knowledge, but the knowing. Because the knowing is really like, I tell you, honey is sweet, and you probably heard that honey is sweet. You might believe me because you heard it, but maybe you never tasted it. But until you really taste the honey yourself, now it's going from knowledge to knowing. And that itself creates so much more confidence in what you're receiving and how you even projecting it out to the world or teaching it all together. So intellectual curiosity actually invites for that being more competent and confidence in what you are learning or seeking or trying to know about. So curiosity, I think, to answer your question, what got me curious is my curiosity of things. Like to explore, to learn, to ask, to dig deeper and think higher a little bit, right?
Right.
Yes.
Those ultimate why questions, right? It sounds like you enjoy doing more of an experiential learning, not just the knowledge collecting, but the actual physical experiences that build knowledge, which is very exciting. Yeah, I love that.
When we participate in the experiential part, our soul glows. And it truly brings the liveliness in you. So I encourage people who might know a lot of things and could really be very good educated about them, is to actually test it out, debate on it, talk about it, dialogue with it, apply it, and see the extra level. And it also expands that same information now, because you're sharing it or applying it, actually gets you new realities that you yourself can be the one who is applying it to that particular knowledge out of your experience.
Yeah.
I want to mention also that in our comments, Julie Christopher, a good friend of ours, she's made several comments. Hello to us. So hello, Julie. Everybody wave. Hello, Julie.
Hello, Julie.
And, she really made a nice comment about me. She says, wow, Jim, you really are intelligent.
I love it. Yes.
And she's talking about curiosity takes us to our inner child. She's a sweet, sweet lady. And thank you so much for those kind comments there, Julie. Really appreciate you. And, when it comes to the myths that we come up with, and I was talking to someone we were on the radio show today. I was talking with Rennie Gabriel, and he was talking about the myths about money. And the problem with myths is that, like we're never taught how to balance a checkbook in, high school or anything like that. But the myths, any kind of a myth that gets created in your mind, I mean, it just kind of like it's cemented in there because you've heard so many myths so long and all that. And this left-right brain, I mean, my goodness, how many comedians have made a fortune off of talking about, left brain or right brain or whichever category we're supposed to be put in, whatever box we fit in, I guess.
That's true. Very true.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And Julie mentioned inner, children and curiosity, and it's so true. When they did, George Land was one of the researchers for NASA, and when they did a research on curiosity and creativity, and most people by the age of 13 had lost a lot of big percentage of their creative abilities in school testing when they did the tolerance test, because the school systems have gone in gradual progress to teach us to be more creative and less curious. And the truth is, the more we connect to our childlike innocence and playfulness and curiosity, we are able to invite those experiences more. That's why you see children are not afraid to fall, to do it again, you know, and a lot of people now lack creative bravery because of fear of being judged or, you know, looked at like, oh, I don't want to get it wrong, and what is people going to think, and so forth. So yes, Julie, you're so right. Curiosity is connecting to our inner child, and it's very good reminder when we do that.
It really is. And, you know, it's just, you know, like children, I mean, they have such an imagination. And one of the things that's always astounded me when I'm been in third world countries or places where, you know, people do not have much money, the way the kids can invent things to play with.
Yes.
Their imagination. And I mean, it's just, you know, we think you got to have all the wheels or all this or all the lights or whatever. And they can take a brick and make it a bulldozer in their mind, and they can move mountains. And wow, that's something that I remember, you know, as a kid, you know, playing with different things like that, and you know, the imagination and all. We had a tree house, fell out of it a couple of times, but it was fun. You know, it was fun. We had a tree house down in the woods, and, you know, it was fun.
It's a superpower, right?
Oh yeah. I mean, I didn't have a cape, I couldn't fly, but I didn't worry about hitting the ground. I knew the ground would catch me, so it did.
Gravity.
Yeah.
I knew the laws of gravity at one point.
Oh yeah.
That's
And we,
funny.
you know, talking about I'll share another funny thing we did during the wintertime. We had a car hood, and it snowed and iced and sleeted and all that. So we got on this car hood, and we're going down over the acres there, the terraces. And one of my buddies, we didn't even think about it. You know, we're just young and dumb kids, you know. And all of a sudden he says, "Oh no, what? You know, creek. Oh, we forgot about the creek down there." So we're all bailing off this thing, you know.
Oh,
We didn't.
no.
Nobody got hurt or anything. We may have skint our ignorance, as my dad would say, but we all went in the creek. Boy, that water was cold.
Wow.
But it was fun. It was
Isn't
fun.
it funny how now you can talk about it and it's a story? And if you didn't have a lot of those little experiences, you know, how fun is life after that? You know, it's good to have some of those adventures, right?
Oh yeah,
absolutely.
And the friends that you're with, I mean, those are things that's just fantastic. I mean, it just never, you know, gets old, and it makes life worth living because, you know, you look back and, you know, like I tell people, if you don't laugh at yourself, you must either have a very boring life or something, because, you know, I can't take myself seriously. Tamara can tell you that. I mean, because otherwise,
that's not a joke.
Now that's not a joke. I mean, I'm serious about that, because a lot of times we take life too seriously. We really do, and take ourselves too seriously, you know. And I learned in high school by my grades, there's no need to take that too seriously.
Yeah. Wow. Tamara, what are some funny stories you had when you were a child?
You know, it's funny. I was listening to him share some of those memories, and, you know, most of my stories are like things of remembering having picnics in the backyard, or being with family and doing hikes and adventures, and, you know,
nice.
being in the lake in Wisconsin where all the leaves were autumn colored and we're still playing in the water, doing those daring things that you never, you know, you still keep on doing the kid behavior and not necessarily worrying about the rules per se. And so I think that I like my fondest memories of doing art and being expressive, you know. So it's always just different forms of playing and expressing. So
you are a free spirit for sure.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. I do. I play mostly in nature. That's my thing.
I can sense it just from the way you're describing your childhood and how you feel about it. I can sense it in your description, definitely.
Yeah, just still, you know, it's fascinating to me. It's where I definitely crave to go and be and explore and continue to, you know, no stone unturned behavior. So you know, it's fascinating, isn't it? You look back at your entire life and see the the restrictions and the judgments, I call it public mantras, where we believe things that have been told to us over and over and over again. We don't necessarily know if they're true or not, but we just believe them because we've heard them so much. And they become a part of our belief system, and we start to then skew our behavior based on that information. So I love this topic of recognizing, the balance between the brain, always being in that playful space, being creative and yet analytical, and allowing yourself to learn from those lessons.
That's
it has
funny.
to be done that way.
Yesterday, I had a friend of mine, and we're actually working on creating a dating program. And he was interviewed by this amazing lady, and her name is Julie. She goes by JoJo, Rendezvous with JoJo. And she was talking about how we are having conditioned habits. Like, okay, you're 25, you're gonna be married, starting to have kids, and there is always those rules, and then society is so conformed to those rules, and with their hypnotic influence of how they should be, and then it really creates a internal conflict with many people, because the readiness, not everybody's ready at the same pace to arrive to such results or realities, but because of this is the way it works, and this is what everyone says it works.
Program beliefs.
And it becomes that. So absolutely.
Yeah. It is interesting, don't you think? Like when being a person who studied the brain so deeply, I'm sure you see some of those ingrained patterns that people just do out of knee-jerk reactions without conscious thought. And I do a lot of hypnotherapy, so I see a lot of those program rewrites where we get a chance to explore spaces that we've kind of just automatically gone back into as a knee-jerk reaction, and really understand, why am I defensive? Where am I going with that thought? Or what's my new opportunity? How can I play with it differently? So
that's so healthy, so important.
Yeah,
it's a blessing when you are able to be in that space and you have that information that you can actually work on yourself and help others to do so as well, because they have breakthroughs. And imagine being imprisoned or caged within your own body and your own mind for many years. And then suddenly you come to a realization through a hypnotherapist and help, regardless of your source of help. And then now you see this new same information with a different reality. And now it anchors so much different on your soul level. That when it's triggered again, it's not triggered with this heaviness that you had all those years before.
Absolutely. Or just even you see new things, just the purity of seeing, like, what used to get me in a belief of resistance or anger or frustration, to knowing that, that's somebody else's projection onto me. I have so much more I can offer than that. And just the expansive possibility that comes from that when we start clipping those limiting beliefs and start exploring and trying new perspectives. So you're right. It's very exciting. It is. You're absolutely right.
It's exhilarating.
Yeah, it is. Absolutely.
I can only imagine when you work with clients and you see the transformation and you see the lift of where they were when you first started, and their new approach and way of how they want to even live from that point.
Yeah, I'm blessed to work with, believe it or not, a lot of people who deal with suicide and anxiety and depression, and getting them to really realize that there's so much more going on in their life, and the possibility. It's definitely awe-inspiring. It keeps me motivated every day. Share with me something that gets you out of bed. What makes you jump out of bed and excited to start the day?
I love learning, exploring, and being in service. And truly that ignites and charges me. And I always try to connect with things that I really, really, really love to do. And for some, they might find it exhausting. Like you said, you help people who are committing suicide. I mean, that many people are like, oh my God, you deal with that all the time. But when it is intrinsic, when it's intrinsic, inspired and motivated, and then your passion, your fire is fueled and charged by being there, by serving, by actually showing up.
And it's not a scary space. A lot of people think of that as such a taboo world or space to be in, but there's so much love and empathy that's poured into that space. Once we start getting rid of that shame by using empathy and expressing, it's amazing. These people
it's a higher level of consciousness to raise to those levels where you can and everybody has a role in life, and every role is needed and important. We need a firefighter, and we need an engineer, we need a doctor. Everyone,
Absolutely.
if they just show up with that intrinsic interest to what they're doing, the love that they're going to share with their work and profession is going to be radiant, and it's going to really multiply the effect on the people receiving it, and the societies will be transformed through that way of thinking.
Absolutely. Yeah. Pure joy, being in a state of joy, going into those spaces. I mean, I deal a lot with men who are in firefighters or people who work first responders. I call them first responders, from all the PTSD and all the onset of that. And we talk about that a lot here on the show of, navigating PTSD as being a, person who worked in the service. It's amazing when you allow them to fully get a chance to see the perspective and feel through their resistance. It is awe-inspiring because it takes tremendous courage to be able to be that person. So you're absolutely right. When somebody's in that space, they're just impressive. They're just beyond, loving to put their own lives on the line like that and sacrifice like that. It's huge.
And what you're teaching them is post-traumatic growth. So it goes from one way of understanding and this label of post-traumatic stress to really helping them to align with their core values, their principles, and their true self. And when they connect with that is where growth happens and positivity starts showing up more into their daily activity and relationship with self. And they regulate their emotions in a much, much healthier way.
Absolutely. Yeah. I really don't believe anything happens to us. It's all happening for us. And we all choose different paths to get there. And we're here to grow.
Yeah.
For sure.
I like that. Yes.
Hearing you two
build that
ladies,
emotional range. Sorry, go ahead.
Hearing you two ladies talks reminds me of the pathway that I took back when I came back from Vietnam in 1970. And everybody kind of like looked at me like, what's wrong with you? And I'm just kind of like, get out of my face,
Yeah.
And for many years, and when I say many years, for the rest of the 70s, I drank pretty faithfully, you might say. And I just got tired of it. And I just made up my mind that this is it, no more. And I just quit drinking cold turkey January the 1st, 1981, and walked away from it.
That's such a great story.
And and I never will forget, because I believe you got to have, you got to have some metal in your backbone. You just got to get up sometimes, And I tell people about when my mother called me, because my mother had already smoked all of her life. And she asked me to pray for her. And I said, well, sure, Mom, what do you want to pray for, And she says, I want you to pray that God to take these cigarettes away from me. I said, Mother, I don't believe in that. She said, why not? And I said, first place, God didn't give you them cigarettes. You got in your car, you went down to Harris Teeter and got them by yourself. So go quit. So quit, make up your mind. You're not going to go down to Harris Teeter and buy cigarettes and you're going to be there. Because that's what it takes. You just got to, just in my world, that's just, that was a route that I took. And listening you talk, it also brings back to mind that 1969 song, because I love music. Joe South, Everyday People, the name of our show. Walk a mile in my shoes.
Yes.
Before you criticize and accuse. Yeah, I mean, it's just, there's so much there that we can explore and open our minds to, and mostly look at someone like, why are they coming from that angle? Because a lot of times, some of the things they're going through in life, I mean, when you hear some of the things that some of the folks that I've known personally in my life, some of the things they went through, I'm thinking, holy enchiladas, thank you, sweet Jesus. I didn't have to put up with that or go through that. I mean, wow. My life in many ways has been a cakewalk compared to theirs. And, it's just amazing how strong some people can be.
Yes.
I think that range is based on, whatever the wake up needs to be, don't you think? I mean, what we are all in this limiting belief, or we can be indoctrinated into these limiting beliefs. And sometimes a tap is a tap, and sometimes it's a thug, to get people to shift and do something more powerful with their lives. We're all here to make an impact.
Yeah.
And so we can either...
Sorry.
Go ahead.
No, go ahead.
I was say we all are here to do something powerful. I'm sorry, go ahead. You can ask.
Girls, right?
I know, right?
I was just curious about when you mentioned, you woke up one day and cold turkey, you just stopped. Do you remember, like, just prior to that, like, what got you to switch to that awareness?
Okay, it was an incident that I'm glad didn't happen. I was sitting at a bar one night up in Denver, and I was drinking a long neck bud, and this guy beside me, yeah, he was mouthing off about Vietnam and all that. And of course, he never spent 2 minutes in the military. And he asked me if I was in the military, and I said, nope, never been there, because I didn't want to hear him. And I decided, well, I'm just going to finish my beer and, get out of there, because this guy is,
angry.
Yeah, he's going to, not worth my time, shall I say. And then he made a comment that just really pushed my hot button. And he said, the only reason why those guys went over there was for the combat pay. And I'm just like this. I mean, what would you charge someone to take you out and do something like that to you? I mean, if you're evaluating your self-work and what really happened, and this is spooky. I was sitting there and I'm thinking, I'm going to finish this beer. It's a long neck bud, you've seen them. And I'm just going to pick it up, walk around behind him. I'm just going to put him right out of his misery. I'm serious. I'm not joking.
Yeah.
And then this thought came to my mind, and it calmed me down. It says, he may be an idiot, but he's not the enemy. And I know where that thought came from, and it just calmed me down. I said, that's it. That's it. I walked away, and I walked outside, and it was cold that night. It was in January up in Denver, and I remember I kind of chuckled to myself. I says, on this side of the Jordan, that guy, I never know how close he came to shaking hands with the Undertaker, and I started laughing about it. I mean, it just, for some reason, it just struck me as funny, but that was the starting point when I said, wow, I could really have done something bad here.
Oh, okay.
And that's not me. Because I made a promise to myself that when I came back, I would never, harm anything or anything like that, except for snakes.
They don't have a precious.
I mean, when a snake raises its head out of the grass and looks at you, I just, no, we're not going down that street. I can put up the lot, but I ain't, no.
You're not going to be doing the cha-cha dance with the snake.
I don't mind spiders. I don't mind anything else. But when a snake raises its head up and looks at you like, who are you? I'm going like, whoop. You've just crossed the line now, buddy. It's going to be Grant 1 and Snake 0.
Oh my gosh, that's awesome.
I'm telling you true,
Do you have a fear of snakes?
Do I?
Yeah.
No. I just don't like a snake looking at me. I'm kind of weird like that, okay? I mean, you ever had a rattlesnake look at you right in the eyes? And when you move, did you like that?
No. I never get close enough.
See, you're intelligent. No, but there's just something
like,
about
run
that.
with your life.
Yeah, there's just something about
you
that.
You can have that side of the road. I'm over here.
That's right. Yeah. But yeah, when you walk around them, their head will follow you like that. They'll just turn.
Oh, they do.
Oh yeah. I mean,
they go fast. They move fast.
Oh yeah. And of course, we had some. I never will forget one night in Vietnam. If I could share this, it's kind of funny now. It wasn't funny then. We had a guy that wasn't afraid of anything. That was that myth we had. He's not afraid of anything. Incoming rounds there in Athena, it was known as Rocket City. He'd just get up, put on his flak jacket, step into his shower shoes, grab his smokes, and walk right out the door, just as calm if he's going to the bathroom or something. Go over to the bunker and sit down till the rounds finish coming in. And we never saw him get shook up about anything. Then one night, about 2:00 in the morning, now this is fun. We're awakened by this blood-chilling scream. We all jump up, we're grabbing our weapons, and we're thinking, this is it, And our hearts are pumping that. What happened was that he found something, or he felt something crawling on his leg. So he, got his flashlight, shined it on. It was a spider, and he suffered from arachnophobia. We didn't know that.
Oh.
He let out a blood chilling. Man, he like to scare us into the promised land. Are you kidding me?
Oh, wow. Yeah.
Whew. But that just goes to show you in the myth that you think someone is, be the bulletproof or they're not afraid of anything. I've learned it's amazing what will rattle some people's bird cage, send them out in orbit on you. Yeah, really.
Send them out in orbit on you.
Yeah.
Wow, yeah, that is something. Yeah, phobias and spiders and all that. A lot of people suffer with that for sure.
You got all the
Absolutely.
list of phobias there, on the list. You think, who in the world would be some of the little things, nutsy things, who in the world have a phobia about that? Good grief. I mean,
it's a lot of it's associated to childhood trauma. So it's not necessarily, it could be a clown suit on your birthday party that, sends chills through your spine. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
I was going through the list one day and I don't remember exactly what I was looking at. So what I saw, a lot of them, I'm going like, you gotta be kidding me, And but you never know what can really unnerve someone. That's my point.
Yeah.
And that's you got to respect that too, because you can understand snakes or spiders or things like that. But
well, there's even words that trigger people into responses you don't want. It's amazing how quickly people can get triggered.
Oh, yeah. That's true. Especially if they were verbally abused or tortured, and certain words trigger their emotions really bad. So true.
A glare, a look. Yeah. We have to be, I feel like it's the biggest way we can shift is to be aware of our own physical expressions and our tone and our word choices, because sometimes we could throw daggers without intention. It's really fascinating.
Mm-hmm.
It's also fascinating when you send an email meaning one way and someone reads it and they go like, because I sent out an email back before I retired as a master sergeant, and I sent an email to one of the instructors and she fired an email back to me, and I'm going like, who in the world, Yank, you're changing. What's going on? Wait. And then I read my original email and I made a mistake left out one word or something. Boy.
It's always that darn word.
Yeah. I tell you right now, she was upset at me. I had to call up and apologize. Then she understood. But I tell you right now, that's a good way. If you're married to someone like, if that's your girlfriend, if you're a guy, you will do hard time in the hacienda tonight. So just suck it up and take it,
I love it. Sofie, could you share with us one of your favorite success stories or something that has brought you such a huge gift that keeps you inspired? Is there anything you have that you've been touched by in such a deep way?
Myself, I'm always so touched by many things. I'm very empathic, and I feel so much. But I work with people, and one of the stories that really touched my heart is this girl, Lexia, who actually had just gotten out of a mental hospital because she was really trying to commit suicide, and her mom and everyone, they just caught her to save her life, literally, but she had to go through the hospital because she was almost out. And working with her and seeing the transformation through doing laughter and Reiki and different exercises and modality that had actually transformed her life, from not wanting to be in school, from feeling bullied, from this, from that. And I'm not kidding. This girl would sit in the office chair, and the way she would laugh, because I'll start in laughter exercise, she will go on the floor and she will be on the floor like that. And me, I just keep laughing louder with her because I want to induce the laughter more. And her mom had her through many therapists and counselors because she just never responded. And believe it or not, what that was missing was adding the laughter therapy during the sessions.
Yeah.
And that was so inspiring because even with time, I started, I'm a co-founder of the Laughter Mindset program along with Dr. Bob Trout. And we started doing the laughter mindset experiences. And we did it at the University of Florida, different resorts, different corporations. But that was like an awakening moment to see the power of laughter and how it can actually really change your mindset and shift your psychology, physiology, and everything associated with it. So that was one of the things that I was like, wow, I can't believe it was just one little tweak of something that made this big difference in someone's life, especially a teenager.
Oh,
Yeah.
yeah.
Well, yeah, a lot of
Mm.
teenagers take life a lot serious. They just get
Mhm.
invested, don't they? Yeah.
Yeah,
They're so
yeah.
fearful of disappointing or, failing. Yeah.
And
Play is the
validation
hardest
and
part. Yes. Yes.
acceptance. A lot
Yeah.
of change in their internal dialogue is so different. And
Mhm.
sometimes
Yeah.
they want to please their parents so much, or it's so many things that are involved that they really need a lot of kinder care when we are
Mhm.
really listening actively to them and making them feel that we're fully present and really there genuinely to assist them, and
Mhm.
feeling understood is very important to them, and that's how they progress.
Yeah. Yeah. I always say play is the quickest way back to peace because we have to learn to play again. We have to,
Mhm.
Amen. Yes. Cheers
Yeah.
for that.
Yeah. And laughter is such a
Right?
healing, a healing process for you. It's amazing. It really is.
Contagious.
Oh yeah.
It's
It
like
reminds
contagious.
when you
Yeah.
girls were talking, it reminded me when I was taking an instructor course in the reserves. It was a civilian course called Small Group, and one of the exercises where we were supposed to put these signs that we didn't know what was on there on the sign on our foreheads. And
Okay.
mine was the one that I got was ignore me, and I had this sheet here, and I'm trying to, play part, my role play,
Oh my gosh.
and then, so I'm
Right?
thinking,
I like that
oh
game.
yeah,
Yes,
yeah,
I do
and then
too.
the guy across from me, I know again his last name was Penner. He was a boxer, and he had a wonderful sense of humor to begin with. And they put the sign he put on his head was laugh at me. And we all got to laughing at him. And they finally said, well, we better scratch this portion of it because you guys, Grant Penner, you get out of here because we lost it. I mean, it was just funny because his laugh was so contagious. I mean,
Mm.
you couldn't help but laugh. And then it just dominoed over and over and over. I had a ball in there for about 20 minutes.
Oh my
Wow.
gosh.
We're
Yeah.
talking about the
Powerful.
brain, and laughter
Mhm.
actually engages both hemispheres of the brain.
Oh, yeah.
And after you laugh, most people can be more creative
Mhm.
because of that.
Mhm.
And we actually did a laughter fitness program that engages the super brain power yoga, which is, going on both earlobes and engaging
Mhm.
both hemispheres of the brain. And then
Wow.
we did a squat like a groucho walk for that. And we created a fitness laughter program and others as well, but to engage as well both
Yeah.
hemisphere or your full lymphatic system. And
Mhm.
that really helps for you to be in that more creative mindset.
Mhm.
I love
As
it.
well as the healing process for the body.
Oh my
I
God,
mean,
yeah.
laughter is
Yeah.
just fantastic. It really
Yeah.
is. And,
Hmm.
Norman
you
Cousins and Viktor Frankl, I mean, the books they wrote and how laughter really supported them going through traumatic. I mean, Norman
mm,
Cousin had a deadly disease, and he had to put himself for a month away and got up the hospital against the doctor's wills.
mhm,
And when he came back, they're like, "What did you use? What medicine did you take out of?" He said, "I just went and I got isolated myself. I wrote a lot of jokes and watched a lot of comedies, and I
mhm.
kept laughing as hard as I can." And they
Wow.
couldn't trace it. So imagine, even for the minutes when you're laughing, you can't be angry and laugh. You're not in pain and laughing. It's
Mhm.
something powerful to the endorphins and the way it really builds your immune system to be
Mm,
stronger, and increases the production of dopamine, serotonin, oxytocin, and so forth. So there's a lot of benefits outside
mhm.
just the giggles, right?
Oh, oh, yeah.
Right. It's such a great statement that I want to highlight that you just said is with one emotion, another emotion can't exist at the same time. So when you're
Mm,
sad, you can't be happy and sad at the same time. Or
Mhm.
when you're happy, you, to really recognize that you get to choose that. You get to
Mm.
choose the release of that energy and that tension in the body. You can
mhm.
do it through tears. It's really not that, it's not really, it's whatever's available to you, right? Whatever's easily accessible. So if you judge crying, it becomes a shame thing. where if you, and we all as a society, I think it's a beautiful thing, is we accept laughter more than anything. We accept that playful energy and that love. But if that's not available to you, crying and then getting to a point where you're crying so hard that you're giggling, or giggling to the point where you're crying, it's really just, expression of movement and energy. It's all good. It's
the
good.
release is healthy, and actually this is very
Absolutely.
powerful. Our perception and association that we link to the emotion that is coming out. So if we look at tears and the benefit of crying, there is a purpose of crying, and we go back to laws of creation and nature again. When you're born as an infant, you cry, you poop, you sleep, and you laugh before you even walk or speak. And there has to be a big wisdom that we can learn from just those important areas in our lives. If you don't sleep, you don't get rest, you put your health in jeopardy. If you are, so crying, tears, there's a benefit for tears.
Fundamental,
But when we understand that it's more of a release, or understanding what is happening, then we associate to it in a different way and actually appreciate it maybe even more.
Yes, exactly.
And powerful. I love that. The choice again. Yes.
Yeah, because I think we shame a lot of things that we should not shame. Sharing emotion, no matter what the range is, we're expanding that range. You want to feel the depths of your sadness. You can feel the depths of your joy. You minimize one, you lose both. So I feel like a lot of people don't recognize that, if you make a judgment about being sad, you're making a judgment about being happy. It's just continue, allow those emotions to unfold so you can learn about yourself and continue that journey of growth and expectation.
Amen. Absolutely. Totally.
Powerful. Thank you so much for sharing. This is a wonderful talk. I'm super excited to get to know you and spend some time with you. Hopefully we'll continue.
Yes, likewise. Likewise. It was definitely entertaining and enlightening.
Oh, yeah. That's now you know why I said at the beginning of the show when she sent when Dr. Sofie sent her resume there, I'm looking at it and I'm thinking, ooh.
Uh-oh.
I mean, I knew she was, very intelligent, but holy enchiladas. I mean, I'm going to sound intelligent if I keep quiet. Okay.
Oh, no, your stories are awesome. I'm glad you share them. Don't ever.
Tell you.
And it's so amazing how we talk about intelligence, and a lot of people associate it mainly with IQ and education.
Oh, yeah.
I just have this intrinsic motivation and inspiration of learning. And every time in my life, for the longest, I'm always finishing a class of something, or certification or education. It's just that I love reading and learning. That's what it is.
Yes. Yes.
But truly, intelligence, you have creative intelligence, curiosity intelligence, cross-cultural intelligence. There's many types of intelligence, and it's really mostly associated with our sense of awareness and consciousness. And the drive that we have towards that particular interest. Because, I might be talking in all these areas, but then you ask me something on engineer specifics, and I'm going to sound like, wait a minute, why did you get her to talk on that? Like, who's this person? Get her out, But if I'm there sitting and listening and then asking questions, I'm going to sound intelligent, because they're not knowing like what I don't know. It's just like I'm carrying a conversation, but that's curiosity. Intellectual curiosity brings in a lot more experience to our lives. Absolutely. Because we're more open.
We got some comments here. Of course, Juju Christopher, I mentioned before, she talks about how songs can trigger things, and she says, just wonderful. She's just a wonderful lady and a great friend of ours. There's a gentleman by the name of C. Reggie Rogers who complimented you, Dr. Sofie, says you have a brilliant mind. You're a very intelligent woman. Thank you for sharing your gift with the world. So I thought you'd like to know that.
It's funny because they both were the ones, remember I told you when Jojo was speaking about conditioned habits. For women, because she was actually interviewing the #1 relationship coach, Reggie Rogers.
Love that.
He is definitely, yesterday I listened to that talking about synergy, and he mentioned a few things about relationships and how people usually go in for love, but that's really not what's happening now. And what really makes of a depth in a relationship is the connection. the energy.
Yes.
And then
Yes.
so he brought a lot of great insights in that field and area. So much love to both of them, definitely.
Aw, that's
Yeah.
awesome.
I
This
gotta
is good.
say-
I'm gonna give a group hug to all of us.
Yeah.
I know, right?
Yeah. I got to give a shout out to my sister, Linda Go. She says, I finally found your show today because she normally watches it on the other channel there. And that's,
Oh, look
yeah, I
at
understand.
that. I'm
And then
so
she says,
lucky.
and then she says, Jim, would you behave yourself?
Never.
That's
Sister
like
Betty.
trying,
Never.
that's like trying to push a chain uphill and you know it.
Yes.
You can work at it real hard and you ain't going to make any headway.
That's funny.
Too cute.
We've got about 3 minutes left, and I just want to give you two ladies a chance to say any closing comments, final thoughts, whatever. So please go right ahead.
Excellent. I'll go first if you don't mind. Sofie, I just want to thank you so much for being here. I truly enjoy you. And I want to give the rest of this time for you to share with how people can get a hold of you, what they can expect when they work with you, and if there's anything else you may want to share, like a highlight of whatever you want to recap on.
Oh, blessings. Yes. People can reach me at drsofie.nubani.com, which is DRSOFIENUBANI.com. And all my social media platforms are there, and it'll be easy for them.
Mm-hmm.
Also, I would like to say, final words is, we live in such a changing times right now, and there's a lot of fear energy going around, a lot of uncertainty going around. And those who feel more strengthened in their core, I feel that it is time for us to show up more for our human family in every color and way that we can, in genuine interest and care and love. Because if any time you had to show more love, now would be the time that is needed on a collective level, conscious collectiveness, for us to really team up together and really do whatever we can with our capacity. If you can't do it financially, you can do it with your time. If you can't do it with your time, maybe you can do it in your posts, whatever you can, to just say, hey, what can I do on my end that I can contribute a little bit more.
Put a smile on your face, right? Just even start your day off with a positive, send positive vibes out there just right away. Just
set those intentions. I mean, you know, writing little notes and leaving them on in grocery stores, on car notes,
whatever. What a great idea.
Little acts of kindness goes a long ways, and it truly rewards the person in such a beautiful manner. If you haven't practiced that, maybe you'll find out a new discovery of joy that maybe you never tapped into. It's really beautiful. So just keep your chin up, your head up. You know, we're all in this together. We're gonna go through it and find what you can offer and be in service of, because when you're in service, you heal and you grow while you're teaching. So never all these informations you might think, I don't want this person to find out or learn or know, because you want to teach it. But the truth is, the more you teach, the more you're growing and the more space you're making for new information to come. And this is how the universe really works. It's a give and receiving cycles. When they're balanced, we really flourish and grow. So that would be my message for today.
I love that. Thank you.
One thing I like to do is when I'm with, when I meet someone or something like that, try to lighten their day a little bit, have a little bit of a sense of humor, which comes easy to me.
Amen.
But one of the things that I do when I go to a cashier, especially some of the young kids, I look at them and I'll say, do you guys accept out-of-state cash? And they'll look at me and go, oh, no, it's okay. I'll just use this here then. And they'll look at me like, you guys, this guy's, what's out-of-state cash?
Well, most places aren't accepting cash anymore. They're going to start saying no to that. You're going to try
this one lady, she cracked up laughing at me and she says, I want to thank you, sir. She says, I've been overdue for a good laugh. And that's so important. Say, just, have a sense of humor. It's kind of like my mother used to tell me, it's a good thing the good Lord gave me a sense of humor. Probably I wouldn't have any sense at all,
That's a good one.
But most importantly, it's, enjoy yourself. You got to love yourself first so you can love others.
So you got your sense of humor from your mama?
Oh, yeah. That, and I guess also the time I fell out of the apple tree and landed on my head, that might help a little bit too.
It reset your mind and brain. Was like, might as well laugh about it.
Yeah. Like I tease people and I tell them, when I was growing up, my mother said, don't worry about, your struggles in school. So one of these days, son, you'll be as smart as all the other kids. So I tell people at my age, it could happen any second. I'm ready.
Terrible.
Yeah, it's got to connect with our childlike playfulness for sure.
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah.
Oh, my gosh.
It's good to laugh, though. It really is. And I love doing this show because it's the joy of being able to, have a little fun, provide some great infotainment, have great guests on here. And our show is growing, and we're just very honored and blessed. And, we get messages from all over the world. And thank you so much for tuning in. And we sincerely hope and pray that every time we put on a show, that we allow the guests to give you the best information they can, because with all the negative stuff just getting vomited on society, we're like a breath of fresh air, and we hope to maintain that. And that's our goal. So thank you so very much. Dr. Sofie, I got to tell you, girl, you one of a kind. Thank you so much. Tamara, it's always a pleasure to be here with you.
No, always. Good to see you.
Well, we're out of time. They're about ready to pull the plug on me, so I guess I better go. I'm out of quarters anyway. You guys have a wonderful weekend. Love yourself first, then you can love others. Be good to yourself, and we'll catch you on the flip side. Bye-bye.
Blessings. Bye.
Bye.